The Beyblade X Spriggan situation is ridiculous. So I've been on break, if you couldn't tell, because one, I've been trying to focus on the gym, and two, with all the weather changes, my nasal has been clogged for like almost this entire week, so I couldn't record anything without sounding like this. So the moment that I get back to actually wanting to do a video, we get a promo video dropped for Beyblade X's custom line Infinity, also showing off some future releases, and a store decides to just put up a listing for a future crossover Beyblade with Storm Spriggan. So we're going to be covering all of that Beyblade X news and more. If you are new here and like Beyblades that spin, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts, and let us begin. So I want to first talk about Takara Tomi's promo video, where they do show off the new Expand line for Beyblade X, or the localized version, you can call it Infinity. So with custom line Infinity, the big difference here is that we're going to have a lot more customization, with them separating the main blade to be an over blade and a metal blade. Now obviously, in general, do I think that the custom line is somehow going to magically get better? They do have to overcome their flaws. I think in general the custom line base should maybe be a little bit heavier. I think the assist blades are going to be in like this doomed scenario because they only have one good assist blade in all of custom line, which is the heavy assist blade, which is the most consistent out of all of them. It is the shortest, roundest, and heaviest. Not unless they can find a way to surpass the heavy assist blade. We're probably not going to see much with that. But where I'm actually excited for the overblade and why I'm excited at all, I do think there's going to be a lot more possibilities here to potentially improve on certain parts. Like imagine for an example, like they show in the video, let's say you use the Knight's overblade and that actually helps improve the stamina or the attack power of Blitz. I think there's a lot of potential to mix and match, maybe either improve the stamina, maybe even attack potential. There is something there where I am actually excited for the custom line, because before, yeah, you could customize and mix and match for sure, I'm not going to deny that, but it really feels like Metal Fight Beyblade era, where you could really have like so many fun combinations and tryout stuff. Now, for the other Infinity bays, UX Infinity, if you are wondering what makes them special, they are fused with the blade and the ratchet together. Now, we don't know confirmed yet if, for an example, it's going to be a super tight bit grip, or how is it going to work for their designs. We're going to eventually find out as more information comes out, but what they do show with the Griffin Beyblade, I'm very intrigued by this design because the fact that they use the term rocket and bullet for the Japanese and the English version makes me feel like the gimmick for this unique line has to be it separate. If you recall Diabolos from Beyblade Burst, that was literally the gimmick. It would separate and have like a mini bay. If they do this, absolute W for Takara Tomy. I want to see more crazy and wacky gimmicks. There's obviously going to be design restrictions in this generation, so whatever they can get away with, I will love to see. I feel like UX Infinity might give them a lot more freedom to do certain things, like especially since I don't really think Ratchets you can incorporate real gimmicks into them. Oh, also we get a Hexa reprint, so I'm pretty content with that. I mean, Hexa is a pretty solid bit. I'm okay with us getting a reprint. For the basic line Infinity, what they're basically doing is now the metal is everywhere. We're gonna have a lot more centralized weight distribution. Now, I don't know whether or not this will be a good or bad thing. I would obviously think that you would want to have the weights pushed outwards as much as possible, but I'm curious what potential this could maybe lead. Drawn Strike, which is the Beyblade that they show, does have a shape that does seem to look pretty okay. You know, I think it looks fine. It comes with 450, and we see even free flats, which I'm assuming the free flats maybe saves a little bit more stamina than regular flats, but should be more or less the same. I could be wrong. When they're actually showing off Bahamut Blitz, I do want to actually mention that I think it's very interesting that this entire Beyblade is focused on one point. From the overblade to the main blade to the ratchet, they really want that extra powerful hit. Maybe the stock combo in itself might be hyper focused on it and might even be like very viable for like that custom line Beyblade. Now, in terms of the other stuff we see, like 150, I do think is going to be a major buff for attackers. I don't think one side is like invincible or anything like that. I just think having now another 50 height is going to make things very, very interesting. I do think what's really cool is actually the ignition bit, because I was actually surprised by this. They actually showed that the new ignition bit is 2 millimeters shorter than a regular bit, like under needle. So that would mean, technically speaking, the stock combo would be at like 30 height, I'm pretty sure. And because of that, they also show it off like in the showcase against, I think, an actual competitive combo, Wizard Rod on 960 Bull, and it obliterates it. Now, obviously in promo videos, they're not gonna advertise you a Beyblade and show you it losing, right? They're gonna show, oh, it's so strong and powerful. I do think the parts are interesting. I do want to say that ignition being a lot shorter, it might be something in the meta where we could see like this part be used as like a very gamble part where you get like super powerful attack right at the start and then that's it. But I mean, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, what are your predictions for the new Salamander Beyblade? Do you think it has some potential with some of the parts? Which other new custom line reveals are you most excited for and why? Please let me know. All right, now let's address the elephant in the room, which is this new Spriggan crossover reveal. So I'm pretty sure this was obviously going to probably be for the 3-2-1 announcement, but again, someplace decided to reveal it, so I guess it's like, okay, let's talk about it. So let's talk about the new Spriggan Beyblade. The parts that they're giving it are going to be 270 and merge. So the reason why we're getting 270 on there is because they want to try to mock the burst driver, I guess, for the design, which probably means that all of the burst crossovers are just going to get the same two-sided ratchet and they're just going to go through all the variants possible, which not really looking forward to, I have to say. Now, we are getting a merge reprint, which is kind of cool. I'm not a fan of merge. I think they really messed it up by making it like absurdly tall. I think that's what really hurt merge the most. Not even like the rubber shape and everything, which also was a contributing factor, but the fact that the height just is like, what, 4 millimeters taller than that of a regular bit? Yeah, it's not gonna be fun. Like, merge's movement pattern, if you pay attention to it, is just erratic, and because it's taller, you can't even take advantage of anything, not even if you wear down the rubber. But it is accurate to the actual Unite driver from Storm Spriggan. In fact, everything about this is pretty close. It does seem like we are getting the Victory Valkyrie treatment, where the actual Spriggan layer is kind of fused a little bit with the disc in the design. You still see like those points of the axe, which is still going to make contact, just the sides are filled out, which for the design, I don't really think is going to really affect it that badly. I do expect this to be lightweight like Victory and the other ones. I think the burst crossovers are more or less like 31, like 32 range or whatever. Now, I do want to mention I am using a 4K AI upscale. I do think even trying to look closer to my original Spriggan, I do assume the weight will probably still be maybe 32, maybe 33 grams if we get lucky with the crossover Beyblade. The axe should still hit. I think if we're lucky, this might be like a diet hover wyvern. If they gave the weight a little bit more and we got lucky, then it'd be a different story, but I don't have hope for these things. Now, the one thing I do want to mention that I think is funny as fuck is that if you think about the original combination that it had, it was okay, you know, it was fine for a stock combo, but since the burst design was so flawed, Spriggan was very easy to burst because they gave it such weak teeth. That's how you could burst in Beyblade X. It was teeth unlocking together. So I think it actually is really funny to think that the stock combo in Beyblade X is also just super, super weak. In a way, it's probably one of the best callbacks that they could ever do. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I get to relive the memories of Spriggan bursting and exploding right away in battle. Aside from that, I am pretty excited for the future of Beyblade X. I think there's a lot riding on this new Infinity line that they're setting up because they're doing a lot of changes, and I do prefer us getting this than like getting some fourth line of like some slightly variant in customization. I think what they're doing here made a lot of sense, and it's something that I'm okay with. But what are your thoughts in the comment section below? Let me know. And that's gonna be pretty much it for this video. So I wanna say thank you for watching. I'm gonna say take care and bye.